Good morning and welcome to Race Industry Now, the weekly webinar series from EPARTRADE, presented to you by ARP, Performance Plus Global Logistic, Feria Racing Components, Peak, Fifth Third Bank Motorsport, Quire, and CTEC Manufacturing. I am Francisque Savignan, the founder and CEO of EPARTRADE, the racing industry, every minute, every day. This is episode 538, and we're going to be talking with JMS Daytona. With me this morning are Judy Kinn, our co-founder of EPARTRADE, and a wonderful host, NASCAR Cruise Chief Champion, Mr. Jeff Hammond. Judy?
Thank you, Francisque, and thank you, everyone, for joining today. Today, we have two well-known industry leaders with us, so I'm proud to have them on board with us. I've probably known Chris Johnson for 25 plus years now. So today we're going to take a look at JMS Daytona and touch on all their brands. Jeff?
Yeah, we're very blessed today. We really are, because this is one of the fastest growing companies, and they've been involved for a long time. And I think we're going to learn some things. I mean, they're continuing to grow. And I think that Chris and Frank right now have got a really outstanding presentation, and I'm ready to get this show on the road and get everybody, involved today, because I think we're going to have some fun.
Here we go.
All right. Good morning, sir. You got your volume turned on by there, boss man?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, there you go. Now we can hear you. All right.
Great.
So how you doing this morning, Chris?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I really am. And like I say, I've been talking to Frank and going through some of the notes and everything that he sent. And like I said, really looking forward to you guys sharing with us. And again, you've been around such a long time, and you know so much. And there he is. Hey, Frank.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Great. Finally to see you. Like I said, we talked some, and we had a few things we shared with each other. And like I say, I was blown away with what this presentation is going to look like today. And Chris, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't get you to give us a little insight on what really is, the JMS, Daytona deal, the JNS. I mean, the program itself, it's just it's huge. It really is. You got so many different, almost like an octopus. You got a lot of arms out there.
Yeah, we focus on three primary items. One is emissions legal performance products for street cars. That's the JMS brand. And then we have Daytona Sensors, which focuses primarily on race car ignitions. So most late model circle track cars run our ignition. And then Daytona Sensors also focuses on wideband sensors to be able to monitor street cars and race cars to make sure that the air fuel that's going out of the exhaust matches what they expect. And then we kind of round it out with Daytona Twin Tec, which is our powerhouse motorcycle brand. We primarily focus on Harley-Davidson. We make components for Harley motorcycles that from 1970 to current. So we have a very dynamic and well-rounded portfolio.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but after seeing that, I was sitting there thinking, I would really look good on my Harley. I need to put me one of these systems on my Harley from my road
ready.
kid, so she have a little bit more get up and get than what she's got right now. But no, it's something that I totally get. I mean, I think so many of us that are on the seminar today can appreciate a good spark mixed with the right fuel can make a lot more performance difference. And most people that I know, they want a little get up and get. And you got to have a hot spark if you're going to make that work and get it done. So, with that being said, I don't want to rush through anything, but I do not want to miss what Frank has got lined up for us. Frank, don't you have us like a PowerPoint presentation today? And I'd love to get into that so that if we
I believe
get
I
through
can
it,
do
we
that.
may have a lot more questions before it's all said and done.
Right. Let me get that pulled up for us here. And let's just get it together here. Chris, maybe you can talk a little bit more about the background, maybe a little bit. No.
So we've been around since 1992, so a really long time.
Mhm.
And the company kind of was on a hiatus for about 10 years while I was focusing on another business. And that the name of that business is called SCT, or Super Chips Custom Tuning, as we originally formed it. And then as Super Chips Custom Tuning has been led into the future by some other folks, some of my guidance and focus has been back on JMS, and that's been for probably the last 12 years or so.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that
I
brings
remember
us
your
to,
company back in the day,
Yeah.
Super Chips.
Yeah.
so like you said before, the 3-tier Daytona Twin Tec has really become a great company with the motorcycle industry. We just had a really awesome Daytona week for Bike Week and met a lot of good people and some new industry people that we're really excited about in the future. So if anybody wants to, join along at home, there's our 3 websites that they can check out during this presentation or afterwards. There are 3 independent relationships with cars and trucks, and then of course Daytona Twin Tec with the motorcycles. Are we going to run that video that we had said we were going to do, or no?
Are you speaking to me, sir?
Yeah, they were going to run a video in the beginning for the Pedal Max, but I don't know what happened to that.
Well, that's one right there. You kind of got me on that one right there.
All right,
But I
well-
know that if we've got it, they'll roll it in here.
Yeah. So basically, our throttle control family is consisted of 3 different versions for your throttle control: Pedal Max Terrain, and Traction Max. Which Pedal Max can go on any vehicle, any truck, any daily driver, RVs, things like that. What it does is it makes the pedal lag go away and makes it much faster throttle response and acceleration. Our Pedal Max Terrain has a 0 to 100 dial, so you can actually take pedal out of it for rock crawling in the sand, or a student driver, or maybe a side-by-side, which you need to just take a little bit of power out of it so they don't get hurt. And then our Traction Max is just really designed for a high-performance car, not to spin the tire on the hit. So they can dial that back and just delay the throttle a little bit just to take the bite out of the initial launch. So Chris is a big proponent of this and has been working on this for multiple years. And this could just go on anybody's daily driver to a complete full-blown race car. So
The nice feature about all these is that they're emissions legal. And so if you're a dealer, distributor, you can bolt this right in place and not have a problem. We were the first company in the industry to come out with it in, I think, about 2011. And we've had a lot of folks try to emulate what we've done. And I sincerely appreciate that form of flattery.
yeah. And this is just a little overview of it. So all imports, domestic cars, we have fit for just about every vehicle on the road. Just an easy plug and play with an adjustment dial there to your right. You can see the photograph of the kit. It takes about maybe 10 minutes to install, and just a quick little ride to, play with it on the fly to see what power range you want to be in. That's a really cool product. And we sell it through all the major distributors throughout the country. And again, like Chris said, the ARB executive order, the EO, as it's called, we've got several of those. Here's a little Bronco, one that we've been playing with. That's been a real good part number. And just a little fun with the goodness gracious there. It really makes a difference in the vehicle's throttle response.
Essentially how the product works, it's kind of like like when you're super stock racing and you have a maximum lift for a camshaft, we basically ramp the pedal in much quicker. What we do that's unique is that we actually allow it to be all done on the fly. So you can drive it and adjust it and feel it actually while you're operating the vehicle. Everyone else that does it, you have to shut the vehicle off or go through some kind of contortion effort to actually adjust the product, whereas ours is literally on the fly.
Yeah, you have to actually stop driving with theirs. So.
Yeah.
You know, with that being said, and again, hats off to being able to be plug and play, because I think that's one of the coolest thing, at least about the new vehicles. Your product integrates right into it without a whole lot of. I mean, you don't have to be very smart. Somebody like me could even do it, and I'm saying it very sincerely, because when it comes to a lot of the modern day stuff, the electronic side of it, it scares the bejesus out of me, because it's just so overwhelming a lot of times. But this seems like you can get something done in 10 minutes and make that product be integrated into your system without, having to go to a dealership to get it done. And it doesn't sound like, am I correct? Do you have to plug it back into your computer? Do you have to do y'all send any kind of anything else that's coming, or just you plug it in and just adjust the dials?
Plug it in, adjust the dial, and go. Robert Yates, he was a very big proponent of this back when Roush Yates had their product division. We were one of his suppliers and customers, and he absolutely loved putting them in his Lincoln trucks that Ford gave them, and literally burning up and down the
Raptors, yeah, as well, when they first came out. Yeah.
Yeah, quite an amazing testament for us. We're very blessed to have been able to have that relationship with both him and his son Doug.
And it's very dealer friendly too. It's not a product that's going to go into the OBD2 port or anything like that. It's just plugging into your gas pedal, and it's not affecting anything computer wise in the vehicle. So any kind of tuning, you go to a dealer and it's, oh, you put that tuner in it and there's your problem. But this doesn't really have that effect on the dealer visits. So
that's one of the reasons I was kind of curious about that, because I see a lot of people, they put a product on and then all of a sudden it's not quite right, and they say, oh yeah, we've got to help you sit this, or you need to do that, or you did this wrong. And just looking at it when I got this, and was going through the PowerPoint, and I was noticing everything, how clean and neat, and it's like, say, hey, this right here looks like, one of those DIY type deals. You got a situation where you can just do it yourself and really save a lot of money and yet get a lot of pleasure out of it.
Yeah, no doubt. We everything that's made is all OEM quality wire and loom and things like that. But we were just talking the other night, me and Chris, about what does the modern kid do today to make his car better? Like back in the day, we got a carburetor and we got headers and we got a manifold. Like today, you can't do that, So the Boost Max product that we're looking at now on the screen and the Pedal Max product is exactly what's needed for them today, because it doesn't impede their warranty, as well as gives them the pleasure of feeling more power in their car for very low price money to spend. So I think we're on to something a little bit with the youth and the small cars today. A lot of turbocharged cars and a lot of the diesel trucks have a very large lag in their systems, and this cures it all. So
Yeah, it's interesting that our latest customer feedback has been from Honda Passport owners. So
yeah,
it's wonderful to see those guys and those folks trying to do something for their vehicle. And these are 24, 25 vehicles, and they're really excited about the product and promoting the product, and we are very thankful for that, because I've always wondered what those folks can do to improve their performance, and there's not a lot of stuff that's out there and easy to install.
Yeah.
Well,
And that takes us to
you're already catching my eye, because you're adding boost, and horsepower and the gains. I mean, it's like even back in the day when you're talking about the stuff you could add to your hot rod, you want to call it, to be
Right.
able to have 95 horsepower gain would be phenomenal, but it would cost you a bunch of money,
Yeah.
and it would be a lot more, it's not a plug and play situation. And it's
Yeah.
amazing that the product that you happen to be driving has got that much already pre-built into it, but you need that little extra know how to get to it to make it, give it to you while you're driving. I mean, I think that's just
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. This Boost Max product was actually also a Roush Yates design, I believe, Chris, right? Because this went to all the UTI schools all over the country, and they actually used it in their dyno room up with a Mustang, and they used this kit. So they taught kids how to bring in a stock car, dyno it, put this kit on there that took 15 or 20 minutes to do. They had them install it, and then they'd make pulls, and they'd actually turn the knob up and they'd make up to 75, 80, 90 horsepower more with that stock V6 Mustang. So it was really an awesome deal. I was at UTI with some of the Roush Yates guys a couple of weeks ago, and they were just ecstatic of how this little kit for, $400 or $500, gave them that much pleasure and horsepower. So
As we're going through the program, I just want to remind you one more time, if you've got a question, feel free to, to send us what you want us to, talk about, or something you want clarification on, because we'll be glad to answer your questions.
the next product is Fuel Max, which has been a real breadwinner for us too in the space of superchargers, turbos, any kind of power adder. You definitely need to upgrade the fuel system, sometimes the fuel lines, and sometimes you need to add a triple pump to it. But Chris has come up with this design on this Fuel Max, which is a complete plug and play thing again, Jeff, that it takes literally 30 minutes, 20 minutes to do out of the box, to hook it up to your existing fuel system that actually spins the pump faster and higher voltage, that allows you not to have to change the pump and fuel line change and things like that. And we make them for all the big, Dodge TRX and all the Hellcat cars and the Camaros and any kind of Shelby car definitely needs this. Once you go to the next pulley size down to make more horsepower, first thing is that you run out of fuel. So what do you need to do? You need to change the pump, or you need to change the amount of fuel line, bigger injector. But with this system
Again,
here, it's
it's
just a
amazing.
simple mount in the trunk and just you're ready to rock.
Yeah. It's amazing. It really is.
The main reason why this was developed is because I have a lot of hot rods. And what I can't stand is I can't stand a hot rod that I can't park in my garage because it smells. And so this literally allows you to increase your horsepower and then keep the stock fuel lines and the evap and all the emission stuff that keeps the smell out of your garage, that then makes, if you have a wife like I do, that she doesn't like it so much. So that's the real reason behind this. And again, we're blessed to have partnered with another company just called Roush Performance, and these are all a part of their upgrade. It's been since 2013, and even their new 2025 and 26 Mustang supercharger kits, their upgrades will have this. So,
and EO not required on this product either. So this is a really good product for us and the distributors to sell nationwide. The next slide is kind of some results of some of the Fuel Max that we've run. The TRX truck has been a home run, like I said, and then Chris could give you a little bit more on the space shuttle picture there in the slide.
yeah, so we took a NHRA super stock record-setting Cobra jet. We had set 4 NHRA records with it, and we went out to the shuttle landing strip, and that thing runs a stock 2007 Shelby fuel pump with our Fuel Max, and then we went 208 miles an hour in the standing mile in the super stock setup. The only difference that we did to that car was we swapped out the intercooler tank for a large 20-gallon ice tank to try to keep it cool during the mile run. and the tune-up is softer than what it was for the record-setting NHRA. But other than that, it's all stock. That's kind of how far you can go with this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me. Again, it's a heck of an addition. And you know, this be the realistic side of it. It's there if you have an opportunity to use it. But
Yeah.
the thing is, I cannot imagine trying to run 208 miles an hour basically in just a stock car. You know what I'm saying? We call it something that's
That is literally a super stock, like right off the racetrack.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was fun. It took us two attempts. The first time we only went 195, and that was because the factory fuel pump actually failed. I swapped it out at the track, didn't have enough time, and so we were only able to make one hit that day. We came back with basically the same setup, but prepared and no problems, and went 208. The first one was primarily traction limited. That landing strip is so smooth and it's grooved that it's fairly difficult to drive it for the first time. So it took the gentleman that drove the car from a company called Real Street. His name is
Johnny Bulmer.
no, James Mager, but Johnny
Oh,
Bowman
okay.
runs but it took him a couple hits to get used to the car.
So the next slide here, Chris, is the new monster that you're working on. So all the cars today, a lot of the big high horsepower cars all run E85, and they need mega voltage booster to run the fuel system. So Chris has been designing this for a little bit now, and this thing is about the size of a notebook. So if you can get the scale there, it doesn't make it look that big, but it's the size of a legal notebook. And Chris could update you a little bit more on that, like where the progress is on this.
So we're in the final test of this version of the product, and what this is for these big E85 cars. The original design was done back when fuel pumps, back before the folks that make them were really going crazy with the large fuel pumps. And so ultimately it can put out about 400 watts of power consistently. And this design here can run 1,500 watts. So, almost 4 times the power. And this is for these big triple hat E85 cars that still need more and more and more fuel. And we hope to release this at PRI. We already have the production pieces done. I'm just finalizing testing, and it's a pretty amazing piece. And it's difficult for somebody to understand what wattage means in there, but imagine 4 halogen light bulbs in terms of heat you have to handle. And you get the idea, but it's an awesome piece, and it's really close. This is a true pre-production, almost ready to release.
Now, real quick, guys, with what you're doing here and what we're looking at, it's not got any kind of tricked out fuel. It's taking pretty much just what is legal in your state or wherever you are and making it work. Is that correct?
Yeah, because we're not adjusting anything to do with the ignition and fuel events for the engine, you can send as much fuel as you want to the front end of a car. And if it can use it, great. If it can't use it, great, if that makes sense. That's what makes it emissions legal, because just because there's extra fuel available doesn't mean that the car has to use it. So that's the reasoning behind no EO is required for that product.
So
I know Frank and I were talking about this morning a little bit, and that everybody needs to understand that EO and what it concerns is it covers federal statutes as well as state regulations. Is that correct?
Covers the state of California, and then the EPA, because it covers them, they honor it as a third party testing group, if that makes sense. So that's why the EO is what you really want to get if you're going to do the testing. If not, you'd want to use the SEMA garage method, which would give you a 49 state, and I'd use it in quotes, 49 state, because it hasn't been technically tested, but the EPA statute's fairly clear that if you do testing, you use a qualified third-party tester, that you are legal for the other 49 states. The only problem is that you're missing the largest state that is both has the appetite for buying automotive products and the money to buy automotive products. So I would suggest to always try to do the EO. Again, the easiest path is to go SEMA Garage, use their program. And then once you pass there, then let SEMA work with you to do the EO testing. And hopefully you get both. So EOs are very important to us. We have, I don't know, over 20 of them. And for a small company, that's a pretty big deal. And they encompass a lot of vehicles.
Yeah, we've got them for the Pedal Max, the Boost Max, which is, probably have more than most companies at our size, especially. And now we're into the motorcycle space. We already have EOs for the Harley-Davidson carbureted stuff, and we'll be obtaining something for the fuel-injected bikes somewhere along the next 18 months. We're working with the program right now to get that done. So we'll move on to the Daytona Sensors, because I know we're getting short on some time. Daytona Sensors line have been a backup to the JMS line, of part of the group, which just includes all the data logging and all the WeGo units that we use. It's just been a really, really like crew chief in a box, Jeff. You know what I'm saying? You just get that AFR and, look at some numbers and temperatures and set that carburetor up where you need to be. And guys run these on from motorcycles to airboats to, pulling trucks. And now we just signed a deal with some flat track riders to where they run this stuff to really get what's going on inside and outside with the air. So
What's unique about us
versus
is that we use a 4.2 sensor. And the difference between the 4.2 and the 4.9/5.1 sensors is that the 4.2 sensor is just more robust. And what that means for somebody that's using it is that race car guys, we can be a little rough on stuff. And the 4.2 sensor, the 4.2 sensors just seem to handle rough and tough race car guys a little bit better than the newer sensors. That's why we have not made the switch, if that makes sense.
And we also do a Lambda version of that
durability.
too for the alcohol guys.
Yeah.
And then we're really proud of our Trans Am relationships. So if you run a Trans Am TA2 car and it's a Chevy, we have a version of our Smart Spark that they utilize and their racers run. We've had a lot of race wins with that, and we're super proud of that relationship. This is the Smart Spark. What it basically does is it allows you to take your LS engine, almost any of them, and put a carburetor on it, and this runs the ignition system. Plug and play, simple, reliable.
Yeah, very simple. We have guys that I know that call me up and they go, "Man, I went junkyard shopping the other day. I used your Smart Spark. I was starting the engines on the ground, just bringing a battery and hooking up our system with our harness, and they were just seeing how they ran, and then they put them in cars. Of course, we have multi people running this from the Trans Am series to, again, airboat, tractor pullers, your street guys, just about anybody. And it's just such a simple setup, and it's got a really good price point as well.
And if you haven't seen him, check out Night Wrencher. This guy, we met him a few years ago, and he is a really big promoter of us and our products and utilizes them live. He's one of the guys that may even crank an engine on the ground. So it's kind of neat to watch what he does with our products.
No, again, and you keep
Yeah,
coming back
he
to it,
is.
but you guys have done such a great job of simplifying a lot of times what's very intimidating. Again,
Yeah.
you seem like you have addressed everything that you need to be able to say what you're saying here, making it as simple as it is. Just plug it in and you're ready to go. I mean, that's the thing, is that you're not telling me, again, that I have to go somewhere else, or you need to sit down and study this before you start the operation. I mean, um, anybody
And
who likes to do their
especially,
self-mechanic, and you got to keep it to where you don't intimidate them. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's impressive.
and with the Smart Spark, you can use a PC, but you don't have to. And so that's kind of been my big push, is that
Mhm.
everyone seems to get caught up in the technology, but I don't want to use this to go and adjust my race car part or another part that I put on my car, because this is going to go bad, or I'm going to change this. And then I've got to find that program, or I've got to fumble around with it. I want it all to work in the device. And so that's a big part of it. You can custom tailor it, and we have software that runs on a PC that can make it very amazing. But it can work right out of the box. You plug it in, you set a couple switches, and crank the engine.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you talked about Robert Yates and Doug Yates. Now,
Yep.
Robert, computer oriented, I would not say he is. Okay. And it probably intimidates him like it does me. Now, Doug, on the other hand, he's comfortable with that, but he went to school, and he was, educated in that aspect. And the other part of it, you ever been to a racetrack and it didn't have a Wi-Fi?
Oh, yeah, it
Oh,
happens.
I mean,
sure.
if you're having to rely
Yep.
on having the ability to have a PC, or make your phone working or anything like that, that can be, once again, very frustrating, and take away from the fun that you were expecting to do that day, of having, getting this thing plugged in and go out and do a little joyriding, and enjoy, find this 95 horsepower that you can go out and, wheel around, either around a racetrack or a country road. You never know. But I think it's crazy. And I want to point out, one of our listeners, Robert Smith, he said, "Hey, I want to let you know, I love my Daytona sensor products." So
Robert, he's the
there you
man.
go. There you go.
Yep. Like you said, Jeff, the connectors are all OEM quality, and they only fit the right side. So if you're trying to put a connector that doesn't match, you're probably doing something wrong. So we took that step of, making sure that you get the correct
Mhm.
harness for the crankshaft position sensors and things like that. So if it doesn't fit, it's not going to work. Um, so that harness right there that's shown in the picture is just nothing but quality there. Okay, I'm going to move on a little bit here to the CD1 stuff, which we're really proud of. Uh, the CD1 ignitions, where we make them for marine applications and pro street, late model dirt, asphalt, Trans Am racing, you name it. We have a box that'll fit it. And Chris completely redesigned this thing in the last 18 to 20 months. And from what it was to now, it's just, I can say nothing but good of it, and our warranty department definitely can attest to that. We've had about maybe less than 1% of failure, and it was probably due to human error. So,
Yeah, we to this date, we're now at year 3, just over year 3, and we still have not had a single confirmed ignition box failure. That is a huge deal. We have people that have problems, but it always gets tracked down to a wiring harness or a pickup issue for the
dead battery, you name
Yeah.
it.
Silly things. We still super proud of that. It's not, I don't know what ends up happening ultimately with sales with it, because you at some point have to have something go bad. But I'm hoping that racers will treat these things kind of like tires. Even though it looks good, maybe they'll still buy another one.
So we run these in a few spec series, um, with about 7 or 8 different from dirt to asphalt classes that would allow our box to be one of the few chosen ones. And then we also are with the ACT, which is the American Canadian Tour Series, which only runs our box, which has been working out fabulous. And it's really toned down the cheating and everything else, and everybody else had a different box. So we're very proud to be partnered with them and look forward to partnering with a few more series. still this year and into next year. So
If you haven't checked out the ACT series, I recommend you do it because they are full fields at 15 tracks every weekend. I mean, we're talking 40 plus cars. I cannot believe that series. What they have done should be emulated across the United States. It is exciting. The crowds are there. The car counts are there. All asphalt. I love asphalt like dirt too. Love asphalt.
yeah. So again, it just the CD1 is just, if you haven't or you need replace something that you're currently using, just give us a call. We'll get you into something really really moderately priced, which you'll really like the results. So Chris, you want to wrap it up a little bit with Daytona Twin Tec? Just give them a little overview of the product. Again, another obtained company Chris had gotten 4 or 5 years ago with the purchase of this, and really has made strides in the ECU area as well as the carbureted stuff.
So we've redesigned the majority of the ignitions, and we've gone from to almost zero failure rates now. So that's been the main focus. And then in the last year or so, we've been working on our replacement standalone ECUs. And so we provide for Harley-Davidson engines from 2014 to 2023 a complete replacement ECU. You pop it in, you can tune your motorcycle, add parts, do whatever. It's designed primarily for racing and for the bagger series, but you know, it's a really good product. So that's been the Harley focus.
And then a lot of the you know, the older Harley carbureted bikes, we're like the iconic brand for that, for the drifter crowd, and the drifting of motorcycles now has become something very popular, and they have a series that they'll be starting up. But it's simple again, Jeff. Plug and play, adjust the front dial, adjust your RPMs, and hopefully you start the bike and everything's fine. So again, we're proud of that plug and play deal. I noticed just doing this, we do have a ton of plug and play happiness. So there's our Harley rider. I mean, not Harley rider, our drift rider and flat track guy. And there you go. It's one of the products that the Gen 4 with the 202 sensors is like a plug and play deal again for an early model carbureted Sportster or Evo. So
Yeah, the neat thing is that all of our ECUs are auto tuned. And so what that means is that it comes with a base tune that's pretty close. You crank it up, and the more you drive it, the O2 sensors learn, they apply correction. And so it's not super difficult for somebody that it's their first time tuning an ECU. We also offer training. So we've got a really nice dyno facility with 2 dynos and a world-class instructor that has done training for DynoJet for a living, done training for Harley, the motor company itself, and he's now our primary trainer. So he's really good.
Yeah, for sure. If anybody's interested in training or anything like that, give us a call. We'll get you set up with some dates and availabilities and some pricing. The girl on the right there, that Heather, she runs our ignition. You know, she's like I think she's a 3 or 4 time champion now since this picture was put up. But she runs our 1005 ignition, which many other guys do too. We thank Fleetwood Racing and a lot of our customers that really stand behind us with that product. So, but it's a great space to be in. We're so proud to be. We just did Bike Week, and we just had a really great response from customers, and just proud to, you know, be there with them, and just to see the overwhelming desire to run our stuff, and the iconic brand that it's been for many years with the prior owner. And there's a shot of our championship boat runner for the OPA series. He runs our marine ignition. And just a couple other Team Daytona people, Matt and Angie Smith, just really been with us for years, run our O2s and our Wegos and things like that. And Steven on the left is another ACT champion with our car, and Sean Woodside up on the top right. That's a Western Series car, Spears Tour. So
I think he was our first champion with the new box.
yes, he was. And here's the ACT stuff. Like I said, again, we're the only box that they could run. So we're so happy of that, and hopefully we can bring on some more series to just be the only one in town. So, and I think
Sounds
that's
like you're
it for
doing it
me on
right.
slides. Any questions? Anything like that?
I've got a question for you. I mean, we talk about how everything's plug and play. Have you found any reason, especially like with the motorcycles, um, batteries, alternators? I mean, do they need to be a little bit more of higher output when we put your unit on there? I mean, because again, um, does a standard just off the shelf stuff work, or do you have to be kind of mindful of that?
The factory charging system and batteries will function just great.
Mhm.
We always recommend, if you can improve and put a higher capacity battery or additional amperage battery, use it, but it's not required.
Right. Yeah, that's really kind of like what I'm getting at is that, everybody talks about, you can't,
A
if it
16,
affects.
16, all of our stuff will run with 16-volt batteries.
Uh-huh.
We recommend it. It's just going to function a little bit better because,
Yeah.
because you have a little more
I mean,
voltage.
you got a primo deal and you want to max it out is what I guess is where I'm coming with this right here is that if you want to make sure that, you're getting the most you can get out of it, don't get something from this wore out and expect it to get the total performance that your product is definitely designed to do.
For sure.
Yeah, and a lot of our troubles, we said before, comes from a
Mhm.
weak battery or something like that. But a lot of the guys do run the 16-volt battery with the CD1 stuff and the ignition and the asphalt and dirt series. So um, that thing will pack a punch, with that millijoules that puts out. So
Right. And that's what I was kind of my angle was when you said that, it kind of made me wonder, well, could this be an issue? But to know, again, you've done a lot of due diligence to make sure you've got the right wire sizes when your product, you plug it in there, you've got what you need, it'll work. But it's like you're saying, you don't want to run cheap fuel and you don't want to have a sorry battery or a charging system and expect to, get your performance that you'd like to have.
Yeah, and the CD1 SS that we make for the circle track guys, that one comes also with a plug and play harness, includes the connectors for the pin, and there's kind of been a standardization in the wiring when these vehicles are built, and so it just plugs right into the car, and there's not a lot you have to do except mount the plate and plug it in.
A continuation of that's what it is. Plug and play.
yeah,
Don't take no rocket
it
science.
is.
Just enjoy it. Gentlemen,
Yeah,
this
that
has
comes
really
on
been
a plate
pleasure.
too. Like Chris said, it comes on a plate with the coil and the unit. So you just take the whole thing right out of the car. A quick replacement if needed. If not, just for a service or cleaning. But yeah, you're right, Jeff. It's been something I guess we prided ourselves on without really understanding how many products we do have that are plug and play.
Well, I'm again, I keep telling you this, I'm not a computer person and Judy and Francis will tell you this. Okay. I don't take any shame in it. And I'm still one of those kind of guys that, I kind of, like I said, I inspired to the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. And that's exactly what you guys have done. You've made it to where I can enjoy that because and I'm being serious about it, I'm gonna try to get it. I'm getting ready to get my bike redone, and I'm gonna change the electronics on it just so I can put it on there, and have what I feel like a little bit better product than what I've been running on my Road King, and see if it can't work. And real quick, Robert Smith said one more time, he said Daytona Sensors are so easy to install. My 15-year-old installed his. So I think it tells you right there, it is a very simple product and there's something that the father and son can do together. That's not a bad thing either.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Robert, for those kind comments. You do a lot for us, and I appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great company, great session. So thank you for being with us today. This webinar has been recorded. It will be posted later on the ePartrade platform, distributed through our newsletter and social media channel. Please visit ePartrade.com. We pushed JMS product back to the home page. And again, thank you for being with us. Next webinar will be on driver safety with Trevor Ashline and ESS. Again, for more information and update, visit ePartrade.com. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
EPARTRADE is a digital platform that we've created basically to make life easier in the business community of auto racing.
EPARTRADE, there is no e-commerce. It's literally a connection just like at a trade show. So now, any time of the year, a buyer could reach out to a supplier.
When you see a product that you're interested in, all you need to do is click on request more information, and then from there it is forwarded directly to the buyer or to the supplier.
EPARTRADE really eliminates having to travel, closing down your shop. Now you have a place to showcase globally your racing product and technology.
Land speed record holder George Poteet's Speed Demon rocketed 481 miles per hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats. You don't go that fast without ARP fasteners.
There is no way that we could go the speed that we've gone, the number of times we've gone, with a lesser quality bolt than ARP supplies to us. And we absolutely wouldn't be where we were today if it weren't for ARP.
When failure is not an option, it's ARP-bolts.com.
We're Performance Plus Global Logistics. Our team of dedicated performance industry and logistics experts get valuable cars and components to the track on time in top condition. We provide expedited logistics solutions for the performance industry using direct routes instead of deferred options, and communicate all necessary information to the appropriate resources to meet regulations and ensure a smooth transit and secure delivery, both domestically and internationally. And we exceed customer expectations by providing best-in-class service with an efficient and cost-effective system in place. Contact us today to book your next shipment.
You work as hard as your truck, and you have no time for downtime. That's why more truck owners trust Blue Def, America's #1 diesel exhaust fluid brand. Each batch is guaranteed pure, so you can avoid costly repairs caused by inferior DEF. Demand America's best for your truck. Blue Def and Blue Def Platinum. Put trust in your truck.
With roots in the Midwest that date back well before the Model T, Fifth Third Bank has a long history of serving the needs of automotive companies. While much has changed over the years, our passion for helping businesses put cars on the road and on the track has not. Today, we are more committed than ever as a member of SEMA, a founding member of PRI, and a sponsor of multiple race teams across several racing series. Where can we take your business? Fifth Third Bank.
Where will you find Ferrea racing components, circle track, drag racing, and any top race shop? In every form of motorsports competition, our valves and valve train components deliver race-proven design and technology. And we've brought that same performance to our street applications as well. We're backed by 5 decades of experience, an extensive range of off-the-shelf components, and our custom valve department has the fastest turnaround times in the industry. Ferrea Racing Components. Stand with us or race against us.
When it comes to pushing the limits of performance, the pros know there's no room for compromise. At Crower Cams, we don't just engineer camshafts and valve train components, we redefine what power means. Since 1955, Crower Cams has been the name trusted by racers, engine builders, and gearheads around the globe. Whether you're building a street machine, a dragster, or a track car, Crower Cams provides the muscle you need to dominate. And with Crower, victory is within your reach.
At C-Tech, we're on a mission to lead the storage industry through innovative custom-built solutions that meet every challenge head-on. Designed for versatility, whether in a commercial setting or at home, we create high-quality, durable products that stand the test of time. C-Tech, engineering and innovation.